Euphoria is a show that makes fears, traumas, addictions, and every other ugly thing you can think of pretty. It's also a noun that means a feeling of well-being or elation, but I don't know if we're going to be discussing that very much today. On April 29th, 2026, Half Magic Beauty launched a limited edition makeup collaboration with Euphoria, making the glamorous, glittery looks from the show more accessible to the everyday consumer. I only found out about this collaboration a couple of weeks ago, and at the time of writing this script, only finished season 1 of the show last night. I know. I've been living under a rock. It's peaceful there. In all honesty, I don't like interacting with certain types of media when it's popular and there's a lot of hype around it. I feel like it skews my own interaction with the art. And after watching season 1, I absolutely see the fascination with the glamour, the soundtrack, the omnipresent art of the show. What also sticks out in my brain about season 1 specifically is that there was a lot of focus on backstory. Almost every episode begins with a flashback to one of the main characters, how they grew up, and the events and people that led them to becoming the person we see on screen today. So in honor of the show, I'll be doing a Euphoria-inspired makeup look, while I talk about my own backstory and how I became the person you see on screen today. I'm just going to assume you care. So without further ado, let's get into the look and my backstory. This story starts way back, 2.5 decades back to be exact, when I was 6. Picture it, April 2001, Little Rock, Arkansas. A young girl has finally found a rhythm in her new home after living with her grandparents for her first few years of life. She's getting the hang of school days without nap time, of the new daily schedule with her mom, and a feel for the big city after years of only knowing the country. Which is why she's surprised when she starts to recognize the wooded back roads she had just moved away from not too long ago during a car ride with her mom. Just to be clear here, she is me. I'm pretty sure I had asked where we were going and why, and as we got closer the questions probably increased. I'm also 1,000% sure that my mom answered, but I must not have understood what she meant because I have no recollection of what she said. All I know is that we pulled up to my grandparents' house, the house I had just moved out of, and all of the family was there. I ran inside to greet my grandparents, but I didn't see Pawpaw, only Grandma. I hugged her and asked where he was, and a chorus of adults chimed in to help Grandma out. He's gone, he's passed, he's on the other side. But of course that only triggered more questions. Gone where? Passed through what? Where's the other side? I didn't really get it or shut up until we were in the church and I saw his body lying there. Gone indeed. And that day he took a part of me with him. Nothing was the same. Insert Drake album cover. I'm joking just to lighten this up a bit, but no, for real, I think something in me broke that day and it still hasn't been fixed. So I guess there was no point in including the joke. Anyways, I can't say exactly when, but at some point I decided that I needed a new father figure, especially since the one closest to me was now gone. I didn't know it then, but it would become part of my true fashion to cover up grief and ugly feelings with projects. I think that pattern started here. So Project Secure a Father Figure began. And who else would be a better father figure than, well, my actual father? Prior to Pawpaw's passing, I knew my father as an occasional disciplinarian, a shadowy figure who was always near but never really present. And even if he was present physically, never really present mentally, at least not with me. To be fair, my mother has set a high standard. She talked to 6-year-old me like a person. A little one, with a limited vocabulary maybe, but still, a person. She was way ahead of her time in that regard, practicing gentle parenting and proper communication with me before it was ever cool. So when Pawpaw passed, I tried building that same type of relationship and communication with my dad. Little did I know, my dad did not share her parenting philosophy. I don't know if he ever even actually thought about it. He was raised on the old adage that children should be seen and not heard. And while I'm sure he hated that when he was a kid, he didn't really question it as an adult. Besides, his years in the Marines had taken a toll on his mental health, and honestly, he probably had much bigger fish to fry at the time. So, I didn't get the communication or attention from him that I wanted, even after multiple phone calls, letters, and angsty poems written over the course of the next decade. Thus, the daddy issues and abandonment issues that still persist to this day. Going through this led to my first therapy session. I was 8 years old in 3rd grade and had requested to speak with the school counselor. I told her how I felt sad my dad wasn't around, and although I can't remember her exact words, I remember her being dismissive about it. Something along the lines of, well, you still have a roof over your head, right? And your school supplies. Then you're not really missing anything. Parents have to do what they have to do, but you're taken care of, so be happy. A few years later, I learned that she had gotten her own divorce around this time, so my little self probably triggered some sour feelings about her own situation. But do you see how every adult around me is getting grace and understanding, even though as a kid that really shouldn't have been my responsibility to give? Yeah. Anyway, besides being the year of my first horrendous therapy session, it was also the first time in my life I ever felt smart. My teacher that year was Mrs. Hayes, and I'll go 10 toes down when I say she was, and I believe still is, the best teacher ever. It was as if she spoke a specific language that many adults didn't. She knew how to make things make sense. Like when she told me that together could be broken up to spell to get her, my mind was blown. She rewarded students who did well on tests with 1 hour solo reading time in the reading corner, which was just a huge beanbag surrounded by books. Truly, it was as if she spoke my love language, although I obviously didn't even know what that was at the time. It was during a parent-teacher meeting between my mom and Mrs. Hayes that she told my mother, you know, she's really smart. She could be a valedictorian one day. I couldn't wait for us to make it to the car. As soon as we were out of the classroom and in the hallway, I asked my mother, what's a valedictorian? She didn't miss a beat. A valedictorian is a person who graduates top of their class because they have the best grades. Hearing that there was a competition for grades made my heart skip a beat. Suddenly, I knew my place, my mission. It wasn't until that moment that I'd even realized I had been looking for one. There may have also been a little hidden agenda in there, the potential thought that if I was the smartest, my dad might pay me some attention. But I didn't spend too much time lingering there. I had A's and S's and 100% to get. Sidebar, do y'all remember the S's for satisfactory? What a throwback. Anyway, A's, S's, and 100% I did get for almost a decade, and I did graduate valedictorian. Despite my dad, who I still had unresolved issues with, I didn't invite him to the graduation. I kind of hoped he'd show up anyway, but no. As this story continues, you're going to notice he's a lot better at my game than I am. I ended up getting a full ride to Washington University in St. Louis, which was perfect because I had always dreamed of going to school out of state. And it had actually happened. What I couldn't foresee was that everyone around me in this new environment would be next level smart. To be clear, I never thought I was the brightest bulb. Even when I graduated, I knew that part of the reason had been because the people who could have been my competition had been too lazy to do the homework assignments, and my actual competition had a social life and was an athlete. Even with the title secured, valedictorian never made me feel like I was actually smarter. However, I had never considered that in some places I could actually be the dumbest person in the room. In college, I felt that more often than not. And since I no longer had the identity of being the smart girl, I was thrown back into the void and forced to try to find my place. Whether it was with different extracurricular groups, with my major, or even with the schools underneath the university's umbrella, I never did find a space that felt completely right. On second thought, there was a dance class I took, but I never actually considered dance as a major. Or maybe they didn't offer it. That's something for me to review later. Identity still voided. It was during sophomore year that Mike Brown was murdered. And then came the protests, many of which I participated in, the night of the non-indictment, the SWAT teams on the rooftops, guns pointed at civilians, anarchists who were trying to push their own agendas by using Black Lives Matter as a scapegoat. And in stark contrast, the utter silence, peace, and nonchalance of my predominantly white school that was only 15 minutes away from where chaos was unfolding. I don't know how it's possible to not have an identity and still break, but I did. I checked out, and in moments I got almost manic. I ended the second semester with the first D I could ever remember. That summer, I decided not to go back and entered the workforce instead. By this time, my mom had moved to Georgia, Marietta to be exact. So that's where I went. Knowing that I did not want to go back to St. Louis, I requested one of my scholarship programs to transfer my funds to a new school, Industry Makeup Academy. They did, and I proceeded to get my makeup certificate in 1 month. From there, it was all hustle. I ended up falling under the management of Golden Agency, a local company that was doing big things at the time. They managed models, singers, photographers, actors, and of course, makeup artists, all under this one umbrella. It was a period of my life that gave me opportunities I couldn't have even dreamed of. I did makeup for music videos, brides, and countless unique photo shoots. But the time had to come to an end. I ended up in a relationship, was working full-time, and trying to build 2 businesses on the side. One was my makeup business, and the other was a beauty retail business I owned with a partner at the time. On top of all of this, I also had my first YouTube channel, which was dedicated to beauty. So yeah, I couldn't commit to Golden Agency the way I had been able to previously. Now, do you remember how I told you that my dad was always one step ahead at my games? Yeah. In May 2018, I attended my little sister's graduation and asked the family to come together to celebrate her. We were all there, my dad included, of course. He had been much more present with her than with me, and for that I give him credit and kudos. We sat next to each other during the graduation, had a nice talk. I met one of my aunts for the first time ever, and when my little sister walked, he and I screamed in unison like maniacs, almost as if it had been planned. It was a nice reunion, one of the few times I didn't try to get into the heavy stuff. For the next 10 months, we didn't speak. By month 11, April 2019, he was also gone. Thus began my shadow period. Some call this a dark night of the soul, others call this ego death, and others still call this a descent into the underworld, which does speak to my dramatic side. I'm gonna just call it a shadow period though. I started to realize that the relationship I was in may not be the one for me when he didn't attend the funeral with me. Still, it would take me another 2.5 years before I bowed out. In that time, the world declared a pandemic. I lost multiple people I loved, but was broken by the loss of one of my cousins. My dog of 17 years passed away. I initiated into Euphoria, and I was still in this relationship, in this job, in this city I hated, in this life I had come to hate. It was 2021 when I took a tarot reading course, after having spent all of 2020 seeking God and guidance from tarot readers on YouTube. It was my birthday gift to me, Cute Cusco, and I dove head in, purchasing 1 deck and then 3, and then reading with everyone from my dog before he also went, to my mom, to myself, to my higher self, to my friends on the other side. I enjoyed it most times, but there were times when the cards could only pick up on my nervous system, and I had to turn to something else, usually meditation. I initiated into Ifa in April 2021, left that relationship in October 2021 and moved back in with my mother, found myself in another relationship by October 2022, started a new spiritual channel in February 2023. That relationship ended in May of that same year. I decided I hated Atlanta and moved to Central Texas by February 2024, and here I am, and here I have been. And so has that job, girl. I'm still at that job. I'm also still working on growing my channel, constantly filtering through cycles of different types of content to see what sticks. Not just in the sense of views, but also in the sense of me, my feelings, my heart, my higher self, my life. This is potentially the first video in some new iteration of content for me, or it's just a lucky one-off. I don't know. And these days, I try my best to not label things, to just enjoy the moment, the content, the creation and creative process, because the last thing I need is another identity to get lost in, just to lose it again. My goal this time around is to bring all of me to this channel, and to show how it really all goes back to that nebulous, etheric, dark space. The space that holds the ingredients of you and asks what you'd like to do with them. If you made it to the end, I want to thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I'm just kidding. Ted, please don't sue me. Thank you guys for interacting with this video. Let me know down below, which element did you enjoy the most? Was it the makeup look, the story, both, neither? Let me know. And also, if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear some of your backstories and how you think those shaped you into who you are today. Until next time, be well, soul searchers. I do have to take a moment to thank everyone who's been a part of my story up to this point. I've had a lot of different social media pages. I've deleted a lot of those, restarted a lot of those. So in the process, I did lose a lot of my contacts. If you recognize yourself as a model or photographer who helped with any of the art featured in this video, please leave a comment down below and I'd be happy to leave your social media information or contact information in the description box for viewers. Thank you so much.